Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever, what time you're listening. Welcome to Wildcat Economics from the Crossroad Economics Center. This is our very first show, and we are so excited. So I want to go ahead and introduce my co-host, Dr. Andrew Kinsley, and Dr. Valentinas Rudis, who's joining us today. Wanted to talk a little bit about what this podcast is, what Wildcat Economics is. Then we'll talk a little bit about each other, a little bit about what we do, maybe talk about the Crossroad Economics Center, and talk about our vision for the show. We're going to have some great guests. We're going to have some great conversations all about economics and how it applies to our world generally, but also our world in our everyday life, especially here in northern Utah. So let's talk about Wildcat Economics. Andrew, what is this show?
Yeah, this show is essentially, like you mentioned, there's so much going on in the world around us, whether it's at the national level, international level. So my thought for this is let's explain what's going on, jargon-free, try to explain what the terms are, what are you seeing in the newspapers, what are you seeing in the headlines, and then try to find a way to explain it at the northern Utah level, trying to apply it. So we're bringing in a lot of guests, local business owners, people who just work in the area. What are they seeing on the ground? Us economists, we have lots of theories, but at the same time, it doesn't always apply to everyone equally. So having an idea of what is going on and how that applies to northern Utah, that's my goal.
Awesome. And Dr. Valentinas joining us as well. Any thoughts on Wildcat Economics?
Yeah, absolutely. I think being part of Weber State University, we have a very strong economics department that does excellent work in research and teaching. We have great outcomes with our students. But I think now with this podcast, we can expand the reach beyond the classroom, which is, say, 10 to 35 students or so. We can now talk to people and have us be listened to, by everyone. And I think that's a great opportunity for us, the econ department, to get our voices out. It's a good opportunity for others to hear what, economists think, how they think about it, that, we also have, we don't know, and we just kind of ponder different possible outcomes and, consequences of various policies. And yeah, so I think it's a great opportunity to have us heard and kind of share and about our economics department.
Awesome, yeah. And I think I was talking with some friends the other day, and we kind of talked about as we were growing up, you kind of start wanting to know the world better. You want to get to know what's going on around you, and you think, okay, well, maybe I need to watch the news. Maybe I need to listen to politics or something of the nature. And I kind of learned as I've grown up is if you want to be informed, if you want to know what's going on, you really can study economics. You can study the markets, you can study how people are making decisions, and that will kind of tell you all about what's going on in your world. So this podcast, as I said, is going to cover a lot broadly, but we're hopefully going to bring it down to earth here. And like you're both saying, take the classroom into the real world, and hopefully this podcast can help us make decisions. It can help us know our world around us better, so that we can all have better lives and hopefully have a little bit of fun. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it gives us the opportunity to highlight the great things that are happening, not just at Weber State, but also in northern Utah. Meet the people, go behind the scenes a little bit, and most importantly, Connor is going to get the attention that he craved.
Yeah, actually, as we're talking about the purpose of this podcast, I just needed someone to film me with a camera, give me a mic. I've never had that, and now I have a voice. So thank you for giving me that voice. Yeah. But enough about me. Let's talk about you guys. You guys are the stars of the show, the big brains who are going to tell us all about what we need to know. I'm going to refer to you as Dr. Andrew Kinsley, but after this, I think we'll be on a good enough basis. I can just call you by your first name.
I'll allow it.
So let's start with you, Dr. Kinsley. Tell us a little about yourself and what drew you to Wildcat Economics.
Sure. So I am an associate professor of economics here at Weber State. I am the director of research for the Crossroads Economic Center. And a lot of, the podcast idea was, well, let's be honest, Connor, you're the one who came to us and said, you guys should do a podcast. And I thought this is a great opportunity for the same reasons Dr. Rudy said, is just this department does such a good job when it comes to not only are we punch above our weight in research, but we're also excellent educators. And what a great way for the center to take those resources and project them out into the community and try to provide that explanation. Because, let's be honest, there's a lot of junk out there.
Yeah.
Just people spouting off whatever they want, looking for whatever little point that they, So really what I hope to do is bring the economist view to this, and really just give it kind of that perspective, a more balanced approach, trying to keep my personal opinions out of it. That's hard sometimes, let's be honest. But for the most part, just take everything that we do in the classroom and offer another medium of, to get that out to, beyond our classroom.
Awesome. Dr. Rudiz?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Valentinas Rudiz. I'm an assistant professor of economics at Weber State. I work here for 3 years. I'm also a director of student engagement at Crossroads Economics Center. I'm kind of excited to just, together when we teach classes, when we do research, we're really learning, right? What we do is we learn, we share what we know, and we kind of hope to learn from our students, from people we interact. I think this is a great opportunity, not only to share with others what we know, what we think, but also to learn from our guests about what is happening in Utah, what is happening in the country. Yeah. I think sometimes, that gets lost and kind of looking at these macro trends, but now what do businesses actually say? What do people who work here actually say? And what do they feel? And I think this is a great connection. This can be a great connection between the theory, between what we read in the textbook, which is really good foundation knowledge, and connecting with actually what we feel, what we see, what businesses experience. And now we're going to have a much better understanding of economics and our Utah's economy and both the U.S. economy.
Awesome. And Valentinas, the most beautiful name. Be a fun name to say over and over.
Oh, yeah. I hope you enjoy it.
Well, as Andrew mentioned, this was somewhat my brainchild, but to be honest, it was really just a meeting of good minds on this. My name's Connor. I'm going to be kind of the main host for this show. Andrew and I will be on the show every episode, and then we'll have hopefully a rotation of professors, business owners, maybe even politicians as we grow the show. And but you'll see me and Andrew every day, which is great. That gets to my first point. I was a student here at Weber State University, which is where we are recording from today. I went to school here to study accounting, but during that, yeah, you will see. Andrew and I have known each other for a long time, and we have a great relationship, and it's a relationship of respect, but also we joke around with each other and give each other a hard time sometimes. But it was great. I went to Weber State's business school, and as part of that, you're required to take econ classes, and thank goodness, because the most important thing I learned at Weber State University, it wasn't the accounting, it wasn't philosophy. To me, it was two things: opportunity cost and supply and demand. And when you say those things, that sounds very economics. What does that mean? But you learn every decision you make is kind of based off those two principles. And that's what generated my interest in economics that has kind of stuck with me even past the classroom. Now I'm working, I'm a CPA and all those things. But I do have a strong interest in economics. And like I mentioned earlier, I think the best way to get to know the world around you is to study the economics of the world, and it will tell you everything else. So huge interest of mine. As Andrew mentioned, I was actually reading Dr. Gavin Roberts' articles in the Standard Examiner, and he'll be joining us on this show from time to time. He's the chair of the econ department, which we'll talk about in a sec. But he had written some wonderful articles, and they were fun to read. And I don't know if people got a chance to read them because they were in the newspaper, and not a lot of people read the newspaper. So I said, guys, I think you all have some great things to share. I loved being in your classes. This was such an impact to me. What if we put this in a medium that's more popular right now, and that's podcasting? And so we kind of incubated the idea over the summer, practiced, and now we're here. And hopefully, as we've said, that this can be a way to get some of those great ideas out of the classroom, out of kind of the old media, and now into this medium that we're in. And so yeah, I'm excited to be here, and like I said, hopefully I can learn as well. I think the goal is, as guests come in, we don't do a ton of prep to make it, super cut and dry. We're doing this so that we're having a conversation with these people, that we can learn from them, and hopefully our listeners can learn from them as well, because it's great to have different perspectives.
Yeah.
So very excited.
And this stuff is just fun to talk about. I mean, I could talk about, you'll see, don't worry. I could talk about this stuff all day long. I find it absolutely fascinating, and being able to apply it to our everyday lives is exciting to be able to talk to people, who are living the theories that we teach. I think that'll be a lot of fun.
And I think the part of our center, Crossroads Economic Center, we're crossing the different ideas, perspectives, having 3-4 people, experts in, XYZ, different fields, areas. It's going to be a great conversation. That's what we're hoping for.
Awesome.
And for all those subscribers out there, Mom,
this is episode 1, so there probably is only one subscriber, and it is Andrew's
It's probably
mom.
my mom. Let us know. Let us know what you want to talk about. What questions you have about the world. Give us ideas for future podcasts, or if you have an idea for a guest that you want to hear from, let us know. That's kind of our thing. We're trying to figure out what are the questions that are out there, and how can we help to kind of shape the understanding around what's going on.
Yeah, because there can be a really pie in the sky economic thing. Like, I know we've heard about tariffs lately, and we can say, okay, I don't really know a lot about tariffs, but when you go to Walmart and you see something for sale for $179, and then you go back the next week, which has actually happened to me, and you see it on sale for $199, you go, whoa, that actually just impacted my world. And so I'm hoping with this podcast, we can take those big topics, explain them in a way we can all understand, and then show you how that's impacting your road down the street, your brewery down the street, your the Petco they're putting in your town. Like, all those things are based on economic principles, and these decisions are being made based on those principles, whether we know it or not. So great things to talk about.
And it's I'm glad you kind of brought up the tariffs just like for 1 second. Last week the students, we visited Young Subaru dealership, and we talked with the general manager there, and he said when the tariffs hit, how the Subaru, the headquarters, were, I think, getting $100 million per month hit, and they were just trying to eat it in at first to not change the pricing. So there's a lot happening at all the different levels, both from the retail prices, then you think about wholesale prices, then you can think about the profits of these large multinational institutions, as well as the mom and pop shops nearby. So all these conversations, they kind of connect everything, right? And hopefully we can entangle at least a little bit of that in our conversations.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
great. Well, let's end by talking a little bit about where you guys are at all day, the econ department, and then specifically the authority behind this, the Crossroads Economics Center. Andrew, do you want to talk a little bit about the econ department, what you guys do, whatever you feel like sharing?
Yeah, I mean, it's a fantastic department. It's very collegial. There are 12 of us, I believe. We teach all sorts of things, from basic principles of economics to high level econometrics. We also teach all of the core statistics courses in the business school. One of the things to understand about the econ department is that, like I mentioned before, we punch well above our weight in terms of the research that we put out there. But also, if you go through and look at the university level teaching awards, I mean, it is just econ professor after econ professor winning these teaching awards. So it's a great mix. We do fantastic work, and I'm excited to have a platform like this to kind of show everybody who we are, and to really promote the department and expand our influence, not only just in the classrooms, but also providing that knowledge, that expertise in a way that is, accessible to everyday people around the community.
Sure.
And yeah, absolutely. So Andrew's absolutely right. We, the econ department is strong in teaching, very strong in research, and it also collaborates with a lot of other people. And that's how you see this podcast coming up, where we're trying to go beyond what is the sort of the expectation that we have in academia, where, okay, your job is to do this and that, like teach, do research, do some committees. We go way beyond that. We have people in charge of the whole university's undergraduate research in sustainability, in honors. So, we're out there doing things with other people, with other, colleagues in other departments, colleges. We work with students on campus, off campus. And I think this is kind of another of those outlets that we have in which, we work with other people outside of our department. And I think it's going really well, and I look forward to doing more of it.
Yeah, and I'll just say that as a student, the econ department was awesome. The professors were great. My memories at Weber State are always centered around learning great things at the business school, and the econ department was always full of fun guys. I'm really excited for this podcast. And if you're out there listening to this podcast and you're wondering, I'm a student at Weber State, or I'm a student anywhere, what should I study? Econ's not a bad thing to do, and it's not a bad thing to do here at Weber State University with these great guys. So, but talk to me a little bit about the Crossroads Economics Center. And my background is, when I was in school many years ago, the economics after class offering was basically come and watch the markets. We're going to talk about interest rates and see if they're going to cut interest rates, and you get pizza. And that was awesome. But it seems like it's come a lot further than that with the Crossroads Economics Center. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So with the Crossroads Economics Center, we're trying to focus on what we do well in the econ department and kind of expand on that. And one of those things was we used to have a kind of small, relatively tight group of people who would participate in book clubs. So we'd run that. For econ students, we have expanded that to where we run a book club of around 50 people every year, which is, I think, kind of crazy to have a book club and have 50 people show up together to discuss a book. I'm like, this is insane. But yeah, we've discussed some awesome books like The Anxious Generation, Two-Parent Privilege. We tried to have the authors come, and the Two-Parent Privilege, Melissa Kearney was here last year.
Awesome.
Gave an awesome presentation. We are having this year Discrimination and Disparities by Thomas Sowell, and followed by a visit by Raj Chetty from Harvard. It's awesome. It is we're kind of and we have huge attendance for students. Like we have 20 or so students attend these events. We also do more trips outside of campus.
Mm-hmm.
So like last week we went to Young Subaru to talk to the general manager and a few other managers to just kind of how they run business, what kind of problems they solve. So yeah, we're doing a lot. We're trying to do a lot more of these what we would call high impact educational experiences, it's going very well so far. It's very well received, and we're just with this Crossroads Economics Center. We're building on that.
So you don't just teach and assign homework all day.
That's we still do that.
I think that's what most people think professors do. That's just the person I see at a couple hours a day, and I get a bunch of homework from them. But it sounds like you guys are doing a lot of good impact and meeting with. Those are some big names you dropped there, and I've even read those books myself, The Anxious Generation and everything. Knowing that there's a classroom both in the classroom and outside is what I think is important to students and the community as well. So really excited for what you guys are doing, and grateful we have this podcast to maybe highlight some of those things that we're learning there.
I think we kind of like evolve as time goes, and we listen to some of the critiques that we get that maybe in the past we'd be like too much constrained, and like in the classroom, the teaching was all done in the classroom. Then the professors, decades back, professors were like, I don't want to deal at all with students in any way after the class ends. We've heard this criticism over time. It was mostly correct in the past, and I think we've worked as a whole, occupation in terms of professors. I think we've changed a lot, and especially at Weber State, we really tried to kind of connect the real world experiences, and work in different ways, like this podcast, to reach more students, reach more people outside of traditional ways of doing that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's it for this episode. It's been great. Really looking forward to what we got ahead of us. I want the listener or watcher to imagine themselves pressing the subscribe button or pressing the follow button, whatever you have to do to add this show to your list of shows, and knowing that you will be the second person to subscribe to this video beside Andrew's mom. So that's an important, you can make a comment, you can leave a comment that said, I was here from the very beginning. It's a wonderful little thing there. But next show, we're going to have an actual guest on. We're going to dive right into what we're doing here at Wildcat Economics, and that is meeting with the business owners where they're at and having them explain to us what's going on. We're going to be talking with Carson Foss, the owner of Utog, right here in Ogden. Great brewery. I've been there. I'm sure you guys have been there.
Love it. One of my favorite places.
Great cheeseburgers, great fries.
The playground in the backyard. You can't beat that.
Yep. It's right there. What street is it on? Lincoln?
Is it Grant?
Grant?
Grant.
One of the presidents of the United States avenues. So, but thank you all. It's been great, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Thanks, Connor. Thanks, Andrew.
Happy to be here, man. We'll see you next time.